I have a really good example of how creative matters with your advertising. And that's how you make money as a plumber, is by being worth paying attention to. So here we go. Let's talk about some back end of the agency.
The Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams on the mic. He's dropping marketing gold, making your business spike.
We had an interesting thing come up on the back end of the agency about 2 different accounts that were marketing the exact same message, but we had wildly different results. And I want to talk to you about why I think that is. So you have to, whenever you're marketing, if you take a message and you go, oh, okay, I'm going, especially if you take like an offer, if you say, hey, $50 off first plumbing service, right? 2 companies who take that same offer, they're carrying whatever they have in play with the market into that equation with them. And this is what we saw. One client who spent a lot of money on branding and positioning and building their company and being interesting and being catchy and being fun for people to hire from a projection and consumer branding point of view, guess what? It rocked. And then we had another client who's very understated, very shy, doesn't want to push their messaging super hard, doesn't want to do it in a catchy or interesting or fun or different or blasting, loud approach. It barely did anything. It did crickets. And so what do we do as an agency is we kind of take a step back and go, listen, well, we tried this and it didn't work. And this is why we think this is. And this was 2 companies who had very different methodologies by which way they went to market with this offer. So when one is loud, yeah, you're going to get attention, right? If I never showed up on YouTube, if I never showed up for a podcast, if I never ran my own advertising, nobody would know who I am and I wouldn't have any clients. Luckily, I take measures to put those things in play so people understand who I am, what I stand for, kind of my methodology and my philosophy around marketing and advertising, so that way they feel like they can hire me. It builds trust. If I was this other company and all I did was run an ad that said, marketing consults, you can get them over at Mammoth Marketing, you wouldn't pay attention. It's way too quiet. It's way too understated. It has no personality. It has nothing to it. There's no meat on the bone. That's really what this was. And so as a marketer, this was a really good illustration of how the same offer is not going to work for the same company the same way. And most of the success you have with your marketing is predicated on how well you've been marketing for the past 6 months. Especially when you start taking these big levers like offers and triggers to try and activate the audience to get them to use you as a plumber, right? So the way that we typically think of this is, all right, cool. Rather than say, expert plumber in Denver, you want to say, hey, we're the Denver plumbers your mom loves to call, or all your neighbors trust us, right? Those are very different ways of saying the same thing, but at least it's got some character to it. And then when you layer on good quality branding, logo, van wrap, the cereal box approach is very, very popular right now with good reason. The stinking thing works. So what you want to do is push that out into the market. You have to project your company out there. And you don't get that by lead gen. You get that by brand awareness efforts, right? That's social media, that's display advertising, billboards, community events, things like that. The louder you are, the more proactive you are in talking to your customers, the easier it's going to be when you start pushing out an offer because they're not valued the same. By building up your brand, you build a whole bunch of authority. Now you're worth more money and you're worth more attention to the general consumer. If you don't build up your brand, or if your brand is boring, that's really what ended up happening with this other company. They were pushing forward, but they wouldn't leverage humor. They wouldn't leverage loud colors. They wanted to have this brand that really was a jewelry style brand. And so it was very smooth and understated. And I think there's a way to spin that, but they were unwilling to do it. And then when we decided to try and offer into the market at around the same time, this one faltered. And they were in a busier, bigger market too. So it's frustrating from a marketing perspective when we see these things happen and play out this way, but it also gives us really good ammo to talk on YouTube and have podcasts about, but also we get to go back to the clients and we say, hey, listen, historically, this is what we're seeing happening. Like, the reason why why it feels like your marketing isn't doing what you want is because you're not strong enough with it. And that's not necessarily down to spend. It's purely down to creative. The spends were about the same. The market size was very close. The competition was very close. But the company that just didn't pick up the ball and run with it and say, hey, look at me, they lost out on that equation, which leaves room in the market, in the attention, in the brain space, in the head space of other people to go somewhere else, because there's other companies in the same market doing it better, basically. And so this is a lesson that you can take for your own business right now. There's a big difference between saying, hey, we do water heaters, and hey, would you like water that is born from the fires of the depths below? Because that's what we specialize in. Never have a cold bath ever again. Do you feel like you woke up and maybe are missing an organ because your tub felt like it was full of ice? That's a very different, okay, that's dark, but, right? What we're doing is we're taking a message and spinning it. And you have to do it. Otherwise, you just don't go anywhere. So, in summary, creative matters, and it can matter a ton. And the best way to get customers is by making them pay attention to you. You can have all the budget, you can have all the placement down to a T, you can be perfect. But if you don't say something attractive, you are not an attractant in the relationship. And so you have to pull people towards you. You need to have a magnetic personality. There's a thing called magnetic marketing. There's a whole book about it. Highly recommend you go read it. You have to appeal to people on their base instincts and level, and you have to just be worth paying attention to. That's good quality marketing. So if you feel like that might be a barrier for you, my team and I, we do free consults for plumbers. We'd be happy to take a look at your messaging and give you some tips. We are an agency, so we'll tell you like, hey, here's the services we provide, but you don't have to buy anything. We spend an hour, we kind of look at everything, give you the lay of the land, and then tell you, all right, now if you wanted us to work on this, it would be this, this, and this, and then poof, you've got a roadmap either way. So I hope this helps define sort of messaging for you. I hope it gives you something to noodle on with your noodle and actually go out and craft better messaging, be a better company, get more customers, build more revenue, and be more awesome. That's all I want. You have a good one.
Want to grow your business? Here's the plan. Go to TylerWilliams.net and be the talk of the land. Now let me tell you the epic tale of how Tyler Williams became the marketing man. His story begins when he was just a year-old lad. His mother needed a plumber, but their ads were so bad. The house flooded and sank, and young Tyler was mad. Swallowed by the earth, into the abyss they fell. He blamed the bad marketing that led them to this hell. At 1 year old, he vowed to the stars above he'd harness marketing power and give plumbers some love. He's Tyler Williams, the marketing baby. From tragedy he rose to bring plumbers joy. With a vow to the stars and a plan in his hand, he's the one who saved them, the marketing baby. Later, he set out on a quest to find ancient secrets that would make him the best. He tamed Mark the Mammoth and rode the wilderness vast, fighting bland campaigns, leaving them in the past. In a glowing cave with light so bright, he found a dead wizard clutching tablets of might. For 30 long years, he studied those stones, deciphering marketing secrets that shook him to his bones. He's Tyler Williams, the marketing boy, imbued with power, turning pain into joy. With fire in his eyes and stone-carved campaigns, he brings plumbers the truth to ease their pains. 30 years later, he emerged from the cave, riding Mark the Mammoth, a legend so brave. Back to Alaska with tablets in tow, he chiseled new ads ready to make them glow. His campaigns were epic, like discovering fire. Plumbers were sore, lifted ever higher. He hit the launch button, the world wasn't prepared. Neighborhoods flooded with jokes as Tyler declared. marketing power. The baby became a boy, the boy became a man, and now Tyler Williams finally became the fable marketing man. Now Tyler roams the world with boldness and might, crafting campaigns that set everything right. He's bald, bearded, with glasses in place, laughs at his jokes, but they're never out of place. With a smile and a wink, he launches the show. His ads are dumb, but they make plumbers grow. He's the marketing man with campaigns so grand, bringing plumbers out of the Stone Age as he planned. So when you see Tyler, remember his quest. He's the marketing man, who's simply the best. Bold and bold with a mission so grand. He's Tyler Williams, the marketing man.